Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to do a quick analysis of another spam site I found. Actually, shout out to Niche Safari. I actually found someone mentioning this on their Discord channel. Definitely check it out if you haven't signed up for the newsletter. You can get into the Discord. It's a really great group of people in there to go over kind of niche sites and affiliate sites and that sort of thing. But anyways, I wanted to mention this site in there as another spammy site that seems to be killing it in the search results. So I wanted to take a look at it. So let's get into it. So you can see here at the top, this is here's the domain, sportsclinictampico.com. And they seem to be ranking for a lot of how-to content, especially related to technical and technology-related content. So you can see here some of the content: how to manage hibernate mode in Windows 7, how to install desktop themes on Windows 10, how to kill processes from the Linux terminal. So a lot of technical how-to content. And obviously with a domain like Sports Clinic Tampico, you would think it would have nothing to do with this topic. So obviously, looking at that, immediately this looks like an expired domain. Now, is the expired domain the main reason why this site is ranking? Let's start to look into that. But first, let me give you an overview of this site in Ahrefs. You can see here, some of the metrics that I tend to look at. We're looking at a DR here. This is the domain rating. It shows the strength of the backlink profile for this site as a whole. So it's normally a good metric. The higher the DR, the better your site will be in terms of ability to rank, typically. But DR of 10 is actually rather low. So I was surprised to see the amount of traffic that seems to be getting. So you can see here, there's a huge hockey stick growth here, starting in around December, shooting all the way up to now in May. It's up to 40,000 estimated organic traffic. From my experience, Ahrefs underplays it a little bit, so it's probably more than that. But that's a lot of good traffic in a short amount of time from when this site seems to have started. So DR 10 is not like a huge, massive amount. So what might be causing this site to rank? Now let's take a look next at what kinds of pages and keywords are ranking. So I'll go into the top pages report here, and this is where we can see what pages are the bulk of their traffic in organic search. Right off, you see here how to search a phone number on Facebook, estimate around almost 4,000 traffic a month, visits a month there. And then some of the other ones, how to send a Facebook message without a Facebook Messenger on Android, almost 1,000. So you see there's a lot of 59 pages of this. There's a lot of content that are probably just like a handful of visits a month, but that all adds up when you have so much content on the site. But we'd imagine this kind of search query, it's not that highly competitive, but let's take a look. So I'm gonna click on the keyword. It's actually rather competitive actually. Keyword difficulty 39. Let's see, sometimes that is a little bit misleading. So let's take a look at what's actually ranking there. And we'll see here. So we actually have Facebook itself, which obviously has a dominant DR of 100, WikiHow, Quora, and then you get some of these larger sites like CNBC. But you also have Blogspot article ranking here on the first page. So sometimes if it's not hyper focused, you'll see like Quora, for example. This is an indicator that if you really focus your content, you could probably compete if you see one of those listings in the results. Facebook itself, obviously you would expect it for this kind of query to be there. But what was interesting to me, if you look at this, it's actually a featured snippet. So it's not organically ranking within the top 10 results here. It is winning the snippet at the top. And that's very powerful because you're gonna beat higher DR sites typically if you can manage to grab that snippet. And we can even drop this into Google and show you what that looks like. Let's see. So you can see here, here's the snippet for it. They've got this paragraph in their content, which is Google is favoring it over the other options here. So, they're able to get visibility on the basis of these snippets. And what was interesting to me is when I dived in a little bit further, let's go back into their keyword report here. You can, even within Ahrefs, I can just select everything that has a featured snippet. So only results that are featured snippets. So notice this, it's 171,000 keywords that it's ranking for in the report. Now, if we isolate it to just those results that have a featured snippet, now we're looking at 98,000. So that is a huge chunk. That's the majority of the traffic is featured snippets. So that seems to be their strategy here, that they're dominating with featured snippets. Now, are they optimizing the content for this specifically? It seems like based off of the amount of the proportion of their rankings, that is somewhat of a strategy here. But it might be a matter that the types of keywords that they're targeting are rather weak, competition-wise, and they are, have content that Google favors for that reason. Now, on the topic of content, what is very interesting here is that this, unlike the other site that I looked at the other day, the content here is entirely copied directly from other sources. So none of this is unique content. If you put one of these articles into Copyscape, which is a tool that I use to see if we have duplicate content on a site, you can see here I've done one already for this page here. So this is the #1. Let me go back to the report for a second. Sorry. So if we go to the top pages report, this is the #1 that they're bringing in the most traffic on the site. So if we take a look at that, I wanted to see where was this content coming from. And if we drop that into Copyscape here, you'll see that there's 10 other sites that have duplicate content. And what's actually very, very interesting here, it's not that it's taking only from one site, it's actually taking it from multiple sites. So if we look in Copyscape here, here's one portion of the content, and it's completely lifted from this site. And here's another one, another portion of the content completely lifted from this site, and so forth. So, and if you go back into that page, you'll notice that it's a very, 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 very long page. That is a ton of content. It's huge amount of content here for this query. And actually, let's take a look at this. I have a Chrome plugin that lets me see the number of characters or words on the page. Let's take a look. Count these words. So we're looking at 13,000 words on this page for a query that's very low competition, although ranking pages are very short. So I wonder if that has something to do with it. But Google is smart enough to recognize that there is lifted content here. So it's interesting that they seem to be, there's a loophole here that they're able to get around. So they're taking multiple sources and putting them all together, copy and pasting directly on there. And then really it seems like it's just almost by good fortune that they end up ranking for these snippets, because you take a look at this, where does this come from? Does this come from, are they the source of this? Did they specifically write this? And no, they didn't. If you go into this one, I found this site here, thefastcode.com. This is where that originated from. So this is the actual source of that content. You can see right there. So why aren't they winning the snippet over the spam site? Well, you can see here, the domain rating is very low. This is not a site that's really ranking for much. So maybe that's part of the strategy as well. They're lifting content from sites that aren't really authoritative and meshing it all together, and they're able to, on the basis of some of their backlink profile and authority, dominate just on the sheer breadth of content on these pages. I mean, let's take a look at another one. Are all these pages very, very long? Now let's see, there was even an ad on here. I'm amazed this actually got on Google ad, because they're it's very strict these days to get even on it. So a spam site like this on Google AdSense, it's kind of surprising to me. So let's go back to the site. Let's see, just for an example, let's see the second one here. How to keep people off your Netflix account. Is this super long? Yeah, another one. Huge amount of content, completely lifted from other sites, multiple sources likely, and that it looks like this particular one doesn't look like it's actually ranking, but you get the idea. I mean, that's your strategy. They're taking content from multiple sources, making these super long content pages for weaker keyword phrases, long tail keyword phrases in this specific niche, and they are getting picked up for a ton of snippets. So now let's circle back to the domain itself. I mentioned this is expired domain. So what was it previously? I've actually looked in the Wayback Machine, and you can get a sense of what it used to be. This was a sports clinic in Tampico. I'm not exactly sure where Tampico is, but I'm clear it's not even English language, so it's this has really no relevance to the kind of content that it's surfacing today. So based off of what we know, how Google operates and how the algorithm is supposed to reward topical relevance, high quality content, unique content, and powerful domain and backlinking profiles, this site should not be ranking. But it's another one that is kind of escaped the algorithm. And I think when I look at the content and try to think about why this is ranking, it's a combination of targeting weaker keyword phrases along with just the sheer breadth of content on some of these sites. The backlink profile alone for this one is not, I think, the reason why the site is ranking. I mean, if you look at the referring domains, yeah, you have some high DR ones as a do follow, but it's not really topically relevant. You have an EDU one here. It looks like they actually specifically got that one because some of these other older links are going to things related to sports medicine. So it can't be the backlink profile that's really doing the heavy lifting here. So in the end, I think my analysis of this site, how is a spam site like this dominating search results? It's really a matter of the amount of content on the page, targeting very low competition types of long tail keyword phrases that is doing a lot of the heavy lifting here. But again, I mean, this shows you that Google algorithm, it can be beaten. It's not the end all be all. It's not as smart as we think it is either, because this really goes against most of our guidelines. And to top it off, it's actually monetized through AdSense, which I find pretty amazing. Anyway, thanks for sitting through this quick analysis of another spam site. Hope you found this helpful. If so, please give me a like, and I'll catch you next time.